Okay. We're here today with Jim Owens. Jim's with Ford High Performance. We're going to take a look at the 2018 Mustang GT. It's the first time shown on the East Coast.
Yep.
To my knowledge, in South Florida. God bless Ford. They're always with it. They keep coming up with new cars, more horsepower, and more features that people really want. I love the Fords. I own a Ford. My wife drives a Ford. Mine's an old Ford. But
We like old Fords too.
Yeah, I have an old Ford, right? And my two kids, Mario and Tony, both grew up on Mustang GT.
I tell you,
Right?
this is the ultimate representation of the Mustang.
And, you know, because I'm an appraiser and because I'm kind of a historian, we're always doing something with Ford and Mustang. You know, so we follow this whole deal. Basically, maybe you can run us around and show us or tell us what's different about this 2018.
And the outgoing, absolutely.
Now, I did have one more question.
Sure.
What's in your garage?
Well, I have a GT500 KR.
Beautiful.
I worked for Carroll for 4.5 years. And I have one of the test cars, the prototype test cars for it. However, I do have 3 daughters, and I coach a track team, so I have a 2017 F-150. Yeah, because I throw in like the high jump bars and the pits and the stanchions. Those don't fit real well in a Mustang. However, in the GT500 convertible, I stuffed 4 bikes to go out there on a bike ride with the girls.
That's pretty good.
No, so I have a truck in there and then a Fusion hybrid, actually, plug-in hybrid for my daughter. It gets about, she drives around in the city, it's about 20 miles on a full charge of electric, and her combined is over 60 miles per gallon. So those are the 2 cars I have.
And that's what you need for a kid. And they're still pretty fast.
Yeah, so it's quick.
Happy.
Right, yeah, it's happy. And then, you know, obviously safety. My daughter's 17, she's driving and want her safe, but it actually is a fun car. Now, they've all learned how to drive stick. So my 14-year-old...
That could be bad.
But we have to do it, man. Gotta save the manual transmission. Yep. So learned in a Terlingua Mustang, a V6 Terlingua, post-title Shelby. We learned in a Boss 302, my middle daughter did, and then my oldest daughter learned in a 13 GT500. So that was kind of cool. So this 18, I cannot tell you how proud we are of this car. Mustang since the 60s. Think of 65, right? Well, everybody says 64 and a half. There's really no such thing. It's a 65 Mustang or an early build 65. Since then, things have been unmistakably Mustang. Even through the Mustang 2 era, there were things on the car that were, when you looked at it, you knew immediately that it was a Mustang. This car has all of those things, and then a more athletic, sleek design that appeals to a new crowd of Mustang owners. So that when we celebrate the 75th birthday of Mustang, we'll have a really good mix of, you know, across the generations of Mustang lovers. So this appearance has changed slightly. You can see a little bit in the hood, a little bit in the rear and in the back, but when you look at it, it's still unmistakably Mustang. Now, the performance enhancements are the really big story in here. We have improved performance on the V8 and horsepower and torque. We have not announced the numbers yet, but suffice it to say we're not only going up like 1 or 2 horsepower over the outgoing car, number 1. Number 2, on the automatic we have a 10-speed transmission. Now, for good driving, fuel economy, but if you go to the quarter mile, you know, down at Tulsa Raceway Park in Oklahoma and you want to do quarter mile shots, that 10-speed is going to help you.
Sure.
And then the manual transmission, dual clutch and dual flyweight to increase low-end torque so that you can actually have more torque and performance out of the manual transmission as well. And then finally the MagnaRide suspension. We piloted that in the GT350. in the track pack, the R, and the tech pack. And now Mustang customers will get that MagneRide suspension as an option.
When you say MagneRide, you're talking magnetic ride?
Magnetic ride. So what it does is, and it's a viscous fluid with metal particles that the computer sends a charge to that will stiffen and or relax the suspension in a quicker method, so that when you are going either over the rumble strips on a racetrack or a pothole on the Southfield Freeway, your suspension system can react quicker.
That's really interesting, and basically, I don't know what else to say, but you're not going to disclose how many horsepower.
No, we haven't done the final certification. This will be available in dealerships late this calendar year, and by then we will certify it. But you will see a much higher. You will see a substantially higher horsepower than the outgoing, which we're really proud of. The men and women at Ford, especially the Mustang team, are proud of what they do with the V8 power.
One of the questions, I was recently at a body show, and they had the Ford team, and they advertised all the Ford pros that can work on your car.
Yeah.
You have so much technology in these cars.
So
how hard is it to bring training to
our technicians? Yeah. So I don't know how much you did work on your cars. I remember adjusting, points, plugs, condenser, adjust the floats, the jets in the carburetor. I mean, you see pictures of Carol's team working inside the hood of the car, like standing inside the hood of the car. Today, when you open up an engine bay, it's completely different. A lot of the fuel economy and safety and performance comes from electronics. We are working with our men and women technicians at our dealers through what we call the STARS program that allows them to stay the most up to date about all the changing technology. And instead of like bringing out your wrench to adjust the thing, they plug in their laptops, plug it into the 60-pin connector, and can begin to tell what's happening with the car. But mechanically, you need spark, air, fuel, and compression to do those. Those are all the mechanical things you still need. It's just managed by a much more advanced electronics.
I went to a technical high school. When I went back to visit, everything was computers in a mechanic shop. That was most of it. I also worked for Mustang, and it was Mustang and Fast Fords.
Yeah,
I think it was
Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords.
Yeah, it was Hot Mustang. It was a different. It wasn't that title.
Yeah.
All right, and Gene Deputy. I don't know if you know who he is. I mean, what they did to change everything, he had his laptop that he could check how the car would run in a quarter mile, and then go back and make changes. And I'm sure all these race teams do the same thing.
They do the same thing, but our technicians do the same thing.
I have a drag race background, so I'm familiar with it. And,
the launch control. Have you tried the launch control in the Mustang?
No.
I'll tell you, we had a very reputable drag race person who is a journalist whose name I can't say, but you would trust it if I did. We told him in the GT500, we're like, we want you to try first time in launch control, in launch mode, and then turn it off, and we will stay here until you beat the time. He tied it twice, he never beat it. There are things that we feel in the seat of the pants. Like Carol Shelby used to sit there and say, I can feel in the seat of my pants what needs to be done to translate to increased performance. That will never change. What the electronics do in that system is help what you feel in your seat and your heart and your head to maximize it. We took Henry Ford III, my boss, right? Like great-great-grandson of the founder of the company. And he had never done pole shots before, so we took him out to Salsa Raceway Park. I want to say this was probably 4 years ago. In the GT500s, we put him in a side-by-side drag Cobra jet, and then we put him in a rail car too. It was kind of fun. But he ran the fastest time of all the Ford guys that day. Now the temperature was, 90 degrees, 95. Track temp was probably about 110. Percentage humidity was, we were flop sweating just sitting there. He ran a 12.22. In that temperature in the 4,000-pound Shelby, and I ran like a 12.48. Gary Patterson from Shelby ran like a 12.32. He was actually the fastest drag strip on the first time out.
Now, all kidding aside, you didn't let the boys.
No, I didn't let. Well, he wasn't my boss then.
You didn't like
now
up,
I would.
Pick
Yeah.
up his car.
Now I would. He's my boss now.
As a journalist, I've done tests.
Yeah.
And you know they bring the test cars to the track that are tin cans. You know, they're not your street driven. You know, cars.
These are, I'll tell you, the GT350 we launched at Laguna.
Yeah.
We actually brought out the GT350s for the journalists. Did the 4 days of the media drive, and then immediately after, did the drives for the consumers and the dealers.
Same car.
Same cars. Absolutely same cars out there.
No fudging the numbers.
No, I mean, and we did actually 6,000 track miles. One of them is that white with blue one over there.
Wow.
I mean, you look on there and you see the odometer.
Can I buy it?
No, that one's not for sale. We're still using those as marketing units.
Not going to wind up at Barrett Jackson.
No, that one went up at Barrett Jackson.
Yeah,
No.
not like that. Now, does that have a VIN number?
Oh yeah,
See,
no,
the
that's
General Motors, when they did it,
Yeah.
they had these cars that they were working off. No VIN numbers. They were like prototypes. And
Yeah, we did
kind
some of
what
those
you were
as
doing.
well.
Yeah.
These are what we call. Well, these are actually what we call MP1s. So they would build the original production line,
Right.
but we've just used them on the track. We won't sell them to the consumers.
Yeah. Sooner or later, you do something with it.
At the end of the day, we'll probably crush it,
Yeah,
which is sad. But, you know.
if they actually get crushed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another story.
Another
altogether.
complete story.
Yeah, we see a lot of cars turn up that were supposed to be crushed, and they wind up being the prototype.
My favorite one is the Green Hornet, right? I mean, it was, and it was up across the auction block in Scottsdale, I think 2 years ago. So it was a test car for Ford Motor Company. It was a test car for Shelby American, and a school teacher in Rhode Island bought it from a dealership. It was the only Mustang at the time, other than the 0304 Terminator, that had independent rear suspension.
Amazing.
She had no idea she had it.
And she didn't know.
She didn't know.
Somebody found it.
Yep, and now it's in the hands of Craig Jackson and Steve Davis.
Good. Beautiful. God bless.
It was a pleasure talking to you,
Same.
sir. Thank you so much,
thank
and
you
enjoy
for
Barrett
your time.
Jackson.
Thank you for your time.
That was good. I enjoyed that, sir. Hopefully it'll be good content. Hopefully it'll be good content. Thank you so much. Have a good day.